Today will be the late night thoughts on the Fujifilm GFX system. And this episode is really all about my opinion. We can of course have a discussion down below. But really, what I feel Fujifilm is trying to do with its latest lineup and my thoughts on, how is this system actually evolving. I'm Richard, welcome to ZP Productions, and today we'll be on the GFX system itself. Not one particular lens, the GFX system itself. Now, I'm a GFX user for the last 4 years. I traded my Leica for it, if you have followed some of my episodes. My Leica was traded for a GFX 50. Now, how did that happen is because my friend who's a distributor of Phase 1 got me to try out medium format, and I'm really hooked on to the image quality. So just nice, a GFX 50 was then available for trade with a Leica, and I just so happened to chance on it. So it's been 4 years since I used the GFX system. Some of the lenses came long ago, like this 110mm, still one of the best lenses you can get, and this 32-64. Now, the GFX system has evolved and, it has came a long way. The GFX 50 was a really slow camera, very nice image quality, medium format, but it's a really slow camera. In fact, the A7R3 and A7R2, which was in existence when the GFX 50 is around, was really significantly better in terms of almost anything else, other than dynamic range, and maybe even pixel sharpness. The GFX system has always delivered supreme image quality at a cost, and the cost has always been weight, size, price, and of course things like ergonomics and general usability. Now, this supreme image quality does attract many followers, but its usability, its experience using it does make people want more, or should I say, want something different. A lot of the GFX users over time will buy a full frame or a APS-C system to complement it for the purpose of many other works. For the purpose of portraiture, I think this setup is perfectly good. But when it comes to many fast-paced action, fast-paced work, the GFX system is just not the camera of choice. Case in point, I own the R5 just for those purposes. But today is about the GFX system, not on the R5. Now, the GFX system has evolved, as I said, for this supreme image quality, it comes with a price, and the price can come in weight, size, usability, and of course, the cost of it. Now, Fujifilm, of course, has changed their strategy over time. They are seemingly willing to give up perfection for the purpose of a cheaper, affordable, and a slightly smaller system itself. Case in point, look at the GF 80mm now. The GF 80mm to me was a lens that is really nice to use, very enjoyable to use. In fact, I already pre-ordered my copy and probably first in line for this Friday. But the 80mm is by no means a perfect lens. I mean, some people may say that stopping it down to f2.8 will make it perfect, but as a lens itself, as a GFX lens itself, where the bar is so high, look at its predecessor lenses. The 32-64, the 110, these lenses are superb, wide open, very sharp, almost no chromatic aberrations, usable anywhere in the frame. But the GF 80mm deviates from it. It is no longer that perfect wide open. It is very usable, very enjoyable. It is also smaller and lighter significantly compared to the 110. Let me show you. If you take a look at the lens itself, the GF 80mm is significantly shorter and a lot smaller than the 110. Now, if Fujifilm had wanted a perfect lens, they could have made it. It would have just weighed more than this 110 and probably cost more than this 110. By the way, the cost in Singapore for this is 4.4K. I think in the US is like 2.8 or 3,000 plus. Well, the 80mm really surprised me when it came out. 2.3K USD, or in Singapore, 3.4K plus Sing dollars. It is a lot lighter, it is a lot smaller, it is a lot more affordable. And it comes, of course, with a drawback. The wide open performance of this lens is really nice, very sharp, decently contrasty, very nice colors, very nice render, but they give up a little bit on the chromatic aberrations. The corner is not the sharpest of the GFX lenses, but the center regions, the outer regions are still perfectly good, just not at the very corner itself. So some trade-off has obviously been done to give you a slightly lower price, a slightly smaller lens, at the cost of some optical performance. Now, a few years back, that will be unheard of because the Fujifilm system has always been perfect. Almost every lens launch since the first batches of lens has always been perfect. Until, if you ask me, the 100 to 200mm, the 45 to 100mm, and the latest GF 80mm itself. These lenses felt less perfect to me. The 100 to 500, the 100 to 200 when it first came out, I tried it. I could see chromatic aberrations, and it also wasn't that sharp at the corners themselves. Similarly, for the 45 to 100, I think it was good, but it wasn't as contrasty as tech sharp all around the frame. It felt weaker than the 32-64 really when you utilize it in the field, but it was a very convenient lens, a 45 to 100, and it wasn't that expensive, lower price than this 110mm here. And then came the 80mm, which kind of reinforced the fact that Fujifilm is shifting their strategy a little. No longer are they aiming for perfect lenses. They are aiming for lenses that the public can accept, which means very good, above average, high performance lenses, but not perfect. So it comes with a lower price, a smaller body, but it also comes with a slightly weaker performance optically compared to the first generation of a GFX lenses. Now that's quite interesting because almost every other maker is doing the opposite. The R system has been getting better. Their latest lens, of course, is not the professional grade, but all the other professional grade lenses, all their L lenses are perfect. And it seems that every other maker is doing the similar thing, where their newer lenses are significantly more expensive and significantly better. Now, that may be because the GFX lens were very expensive to start with. 4.4k Sing dollars. This is really, really costly. This is way more costly than the 85 1.2 DS by Canon, which is a very novelty lens. Obviously, Fujifilm has kind of changed their strategy. Maybe their initial strategy was perfect lenses, get people on board, and then their strategy later was to evolve lenses so that they are more usable to the general public. And I did notice that also with their cameras, and the GFX 100S is one such example. Now, the GFX 50R, I think, is probably a one-off experiment by them. If you ask me, it felt like a slightly inferior version of the GFX 50S. Some people will probably love it because it has a very unique shape, very good for a right eye user. Because the left eye is unblocked, you can really shoot very nicely with the camera if you know how to do it. But the GFX 100S is truly what I think Fujifilm is trying to aim. Medium format for the masses, or should I say, for the upper 1% masses. Because though medium format has always been so out of reach, so expensive, and not really usable. So Fujifilm is trying to balance the game out. The GFX 100 was really costly, but there was very good pickup. And now the GFX 100S is expected to sell like hotcakes because even my friend who pre-ordered it just 3 days back couldn't get his copy by this week. He will have to wait at least a month for the next copy, the next batch of delivery. And if you go online and read, the first batch of the GFX 100S is being sold out almost everywhere. So obviously Fujifilm knows what they are doing. They are trying to sell cheaper, more affordable, and of course, if you ask me, slightly less perfect systems compared to the first generation to attract audience on board. Now, the GFX 100S is truly very affordable if you compare to even the GFX 50, which costs more when it came out. I mean, the GFX 50 when it first came out in Singapore was 10,500, I believe. And now the GFX 100S with a 100 megapixel sensor with IBIS comes in at 9K. Of course, if you have seen my review, it comes with some penalties like lesser buttons, no more tiltable EVF, no options to put a grip, and of course, slightly different in the way you handle and utilize it. All this adds up, to reduce the, I would say, as overall functions and performance of the GFX 100S, but they don't really affect image quality. And if you can live with them, most likely you can, because a lot of things can be just custom set ahead in custom functions, or if not, just get used to them by rotating your hands, or somebody will build a third-party grip. But that being said, you can tell that Fujifilm is trying to lower the cost, lower the barrier to entry, and of course lower the specs a little, so that people can come on board easier. And the GFX 100S seems to be a runaway success soon enough, because you can tell that everybody is really interested in a 100 megapixel camera at the price of below 6,000 USD. In Singapore, it's 9,000 Sing dollars. Still very costly if you ask me, but where can you get a 100 megapixel camera with a medium format sensor, and therefore having a medium format dynamic range in a body that is no bigger than R5 significantly? Maybe just a little bit, maybe at like 3mm all around. That is a R5. And a GFX 100S, of course, the 3mm itself. So Fujifilm has been changing their strategy, really, trying to enter more into the mass market, more into the professional work, and more into the general public, or should I say the general 1% public, that could afford more and better gear itself. Now, how does that affect the GFX system really? In the long run, I expect many more lenses like the GF80mm to come out, which means lenses that are not so perfect, but with interesting features, more headline-grabbing specifications that will really attract people to the system itself. I'm not surprised in the future that something like a 200mm f2 equivalent may come out one day. I'm not sure, by the way. Or maybe some TSE will come out really. And a lot of these lenses will not be cheap, but I can see Fujifilm trying to price them competitively with full-frame lenses. And as such, some performance will be given up to achieve those prices, and of course those sizes. I do hope that Fujifilm don't lose their way in between and start only focusing on lenses that the general public will be interested in, and forget that the initial batches of people who buy the GFX system, what they really want was perfection. I mean, do we need perfection? Probably not. Does it change the quality of the photo? Probably by not much. And then the next thing is, do most of us even print that big to actually see a difference between a perfect lens and a not so perfect one? Probably not. But I can see that this is really attraction to the people who wanted the best image quality ever. And Fujifilm has been shifting slightly away from it, if you ask me. I hope that one day they do come out with a lens that is even more perfect than 110. It's just a statement lens, a lens to show that Fujifilm has not forgotten what it means to be a medium format system, what it means for the first batches of people who bought the GFX system, knowing they are slow, cumbersome, heavy, expensive, but produce great image quality. I really hope that the future lenses will give what I feel is the GFX standard quality of lenses. The 110 is one such lens. I'm pretty sure that more lenses like the GF80mm will come out. Lenses that are more useful for many people, lenses that are more interesting to many people, and not too expensive, not too costly, and not too heavy. I believe more of such lenses will come, and I truly appreciate them because the trade-off for this lens is worth it. The GF80mm is very usable. If you ask me, even more usable than the 110. And when I shoot night scenes with the GF80mm, I do appreciate its slightly shorter focal length and also half stop of aperture advantage, which makes a lot of difference in terms of light gathering speed, shutter speed. So I have to say one thing is that the Fujifilm GFX system is evolving to something that is more enriched to everybody, something that is not so cumbersome, something that is not so hard to use, and something that is more competitive in terms of specifications. But I do hope that Fujifilm don't forget that in the end of the day, they are a medium format system, and the first batches of people who supported them, willing to buy every single lens of their system, came here for perfection. And I do hope that they launch, as much as they like to launch interesting lenses like the GF80mm,
I do hope they launch more perfect lenses like the 110, maybe 150 2.8, a 200mm f2. That will be a bit too big for me. 200mm 2.8, or maybe a 50mm f2 with perfect image quality. I mean, these are the lenses that I would say as the medium format users will appreciate. And I do hope that the TSE that comes out in the future for the GFX system is a perfect lens. Not a lens trying to save on space, trying to save on cost, because TSEs are never known to be cheap nor small. So I hope that Fujifilm makes a perfect version of that lens. I really hope that the quality in the GFX system is maintained. Even the lowest quality should be no lower than what is there today. And I would say as the GFX is in good hands, and the future of GFX system will be great. Now, if you have listened to here, means you are kind of really interested in what I say and kind of interested in the GFX system itself. So why not subscribe, like, and leave some comments below. Then we'll discuss more on the system itself. I really love this system a lot, and with the 80mm in now, I can expect myself to use this system more. Truly unique lens, truly enjoyable lens. Some flaws to it when wide open, but if not, very usable in almost every way. And really, the image quality of the sensor of this system is unmatched. Really unmatched. And I really enjoy using it. I hope that it will still remain unmatched for many years to come, because it's not cheap. I mean, this table alone, 15,000 USD, right? It's expensive. And I do enjoy using them because they produce some of the most perfect images you can get out there. That's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.